them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got quite a bit to talk about because there's just a lot going on. We had some Monster Hunter Wilds performance reviews, especially more so the reviews came out on that game. So that'd be pretty interesting to time to have a conversation around. Nvidia is lying about having defective cards and lying that basically they have some form of Founders Edition cards out there, and it's pretty interesting to see. Andor Season 2 was announced. We got some idea Xbox stuff with Jump Ship, Moonlighter, 33 Immortals, Fable Delayed to 2026. And then we have Mecha Break impressions, or at least what's the synopsis or the current impressions today on that beta, I believe they dropped. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Monolith going up in smoke because of Warner Brothers' bad decisions. Plenty to talk about. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, how's life going, what you've been playing, what you've been doing, what is the family like, what's the home life like. Talk to the people.
You got it, Jalen?
Sure, yeah, I'm gonna go quick. Yeah, so everything. And I haven't been a whole lot going on per usual. Like y'all gonna hear me say that. I beat Metaphor probably like a week or two ago. And I've been trying to figure out what to play. I don't know what to play. I feel empty.
You ain't
I feel
ready to jump into Final
incomplete.
Fantasy?
No, just fine. I don't know, bro. I feel like that's gonna be a task itself. I gotta catch back up to figure out where I'm at. The storyline was already kind of getting convoluted. Trying to play it and all that type of stuff. I could just go back and play it. That's what I was gonna do. I'm like game sharing with somebody, so I had just downloaded Remnant 2 and Demon Souls. He was trying to play that, but I'm like, nah. I cut on Demon Souls yesterday. Got sleepy. I'm like, yeah, bro, cut this off.
Yeah, I don't know why you turned that one on.
Yeah, I was just like, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to pay for nothing. He had like the PlayStation Essentials thing. He was able to get all of them for like $30 for the year or something. So I hopped on that, and I was just like, bro, I do not really care about playing this game. I don't know, bro. I feel like that formula kind of tired me out a little bit. Soulsborne or whatever. I'm trying to think that. Like I said, I was trying to find something to play on my Steam Deck. I was thinking about getting that Nine Souls game, but then I was like, I don't know if I really want to play it on Metroidvania games because I feel like you have to really enjoy the gameplay, and I don't feel like it's gonna be no interesting or deep story or something like that. You know, coming off a Metaphor, so I was like, I kind of want to play another game like that. But I mean, it's been a while since I got to cut that game on. I need to get back to it. I need to beat this game. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had like 70, 80 hours in that mug, man. You know, that's great for me. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it gaming wise. I mean, everything else is pretty much still the same. I mean, just taking it day by day. It's nice that the weather kind of breaking a little bit. It's getting a little warmer outside. And yeah, so that's cool. Talked to Josh a little bit yesterday about coming to Japan, or I guess last night technically. In the middle of sleep, I fell asleep in Discord, bro, playing Demon Souls.
Oh wow!
What you doing there, bro? I'm like, what up, though? He called me. I woke up like, huh? Yeah, I'm sleep, bro. Sleepy time. So that's pretty much
it. So you was playing the remake and you ain't like it?
Yeah, it's the one on PS5.
Okay.
I mean, I ain't gonna say the game trash. It looked like it cleaned it up a lot, but I ain't really.
You ain't interested?
I ain't that interested in playing them type of games, for real, to be honest with you. Well, I feel like I played them a lot. You know what I mean? Tired.
You over it.
And Demon Souls is the very beginning of that formula too. So it's like it's not even anything surprising. It's exactly what you think it is because you played all the sequels. And just the vibe for that game overall is just pretty like chill. Like the music is super piano and violins and stuff, so you might get sleepy just from listening to the music in the Nexus.
Yeah, I'm like, bro. So I was trying to play Remnant too, but I was already sleepy at that point.
That's deep. That's
All right,
deep. Well, I mean, I don't even know what you could play, to be honest with you. There's plenty out there, but you ain't gonna play much of it. And I don't know if you got Game Pass still. But I mean,
I ain't got
it's
that much.
you're probably looking for something on your Steam Deck. I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Something. I can't. Yeah, if I ain't, I went for something on a Steam Deck to play for. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, well,
But I'll probably just get one of them little games or something. I'll be trying to. Games don't be that interested in me. They just like, all right, I'm joining.
He almost pulled
cool.
pulled that trigger on that Kakarot the second time. What happened?
I played that demo and stuff. I was just like, man, I'm not gonna play through all this game, bro. Like, I did a lot on the original game, on a PS4 version. I was just like,
yeah, well,
I ain't finna. And I think I have to go through and look at the settings because there's a little bit of stuttering and stuff I had seen. But I think it runs pretty good on a Steam Deck, though, regardless.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah, well, we'll figure it out. One of these days, something's gonna click. What about you?
I mean, it's been a couple weeks now.
This ain't been that long. You only beat it like a week ago.
I beat it 2 weeks ago. Persona 4 on Steam while he playing.
That's all he into right now is the Persona games. You might as well play.
I beat it. Was it a week ago? I beat it.
It was a week ago, dude. That's when I first heard you.
It was a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. Yeah, it was a week ago.
Yeah,
I almost sent y'all that Persona 4 song, that Heartbreak. Remember that?
You sent this one song. I don't know what it was. But
I did send it to you, the Heartbreak song.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this song was going kind of hard when I first played this game, bro.
Yeah. Oh boy, a diehard Atlas fan, Josh. Remember you couldn't get no, you used to play them, right? No, you didn't. The first one was 5. Yeah, well,
I think we all started with. Well, we all played 4 for a little bit. But the first one I think y'all beat was 5.
No, the first one I beat was Golden on the PS Vita.
Yeah, you beat that one. Okay.
Yeah, I beat that one on the Vita. And then I didn't beat 5. That's what made me mad. I didn't beat the next one because I was like, man, this not taking too long. I don't even know if I was fatigued because I thought I played them like a lot of apart, but whatever happened, I didn't beat 5. I got to the end and I was like, bro, I'm not finna go through. He kept talking about you gotta go through whatever it is. Mementos? Was that what it's called? I was like, bro, I'm not finna do that. I said, yeah.
If you don't start it through the game, you could.
Yeah, you gotta do the whole thing. When you told me that, I felt defeated. I said, yep. That's it. I'm off this boy for real. But yeah,
you could have steamrolled it, but I get it though. Still,
yeah. But what about you, Josh? What you been up to? What you been doing, man?
Yeah, it's been a busy couple days for me. Wife is traveling, so I'm taking care of the baby for a bit, which is cool. It's just my work schedule and everything has to fit around her school schedule because she got school early, and I usually get out of work like later than most people, I guess. So
yeah,
end up leaving work early so I can pick her up from school, and that's been cool. I thought it would be nice to like have some time to get out of work early, but like once you leave work to pick up your kid, you're back into the parent job, so it ain't like I got any more free time. It's just I'm at home more. But yeah, we've been cool. It's the first time that my daughter's been away from mom for a long time, but she's actually doing fine. Like, she's probably still too young to actually know what's going on. She just, every now and then she'll remember, like, hey, where's mommy or whatever. But
yeah,
she hasn't been crying or anything like that. And as far as video games and media, my wife and I, we were watching Skeleton Crew, but since she's out of town, we haven't been able to finish it. But we're like halfway through. I think I was telling y'all before that I was enjoying it. And yeah, like halfway through the season, pretty good family-friendly show, but it's still Star Wars. It really gives me the like Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. Because I watched that the other day, because it was on it was just on TV, so I watched through it. Where it's the characters are having a lot of fun, but the stakes are still real, so it doesn't feel too like overly jokey or stuff like that because like pirates are actually dangerous, so you don't want to mess with them. So that's the vibe that Skeleton Crew was given.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as games, I haven't touched Marvel Rivals just because I don't have time. But they dropped their two new characters, so I want to get into that this weekend. But I've been actually playing a RPG on my little Android device, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. Um, and that one I guess was random just because I was in the mood for Star Wars. And then I think last week, Epic Games because they released their mobile like little app store or whatever. It's basically just a website, but you can download the APKs of like their games. But they were giving out KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2 for free on PC and mobile. So I ended up downloading it, and apparently the mobile version of Knights of the Old Republic is like the best performing and like enhanced version.
Oh, really?
So playing through that, yeah. And that those games were made by BioWare. They came out before Mass Effect did on so KOTOR came out on the original Xbox, and then Mass Effect came out on the 360. But yeah, very similar vibe to Mass Effect. Like you're walking around, big environments, talking to aliens, getting them to uh, tell you their life stories and do their side quests and stuff like that. The combat is very, very like old PC RPG, so it might not be that interesting or satisfying to a lot of people. So if they do ever remake that game, I feel like that's the part that can be improved on the most. But as far as like just the world and the characters and the stuff that you're doing is already very interesting for a game that came out in like 2001, and honestly looks like very old and simple as far as like the characters and stuff. But so far I'm liking it. Never finished it, but I'll see if I can beat the first one and then move on to the second one because I think the second one is a lot of people's favorites, but I haven't seen much of it myself.
Okay. Okay, cool. You got some games you playing, got some stuff you want to tackle. I mean, that's always good. Jalen need to get a little bit of some of that, but he he's
I
undecided.
mean, y'all take a break from games for a long time and be afraid to jump back in. I just do it. If I don't remember, I'll remember in an hour or two after playing.
Nah, you right. You right. I could do that, but
yeah,
out there.
And that's my way to get Jalen to play Okami.
Man, nah, that game. I gotta read a whole walkthrough to figure out where I'm at in that game.
Yeah, you could start it over. I told you it was on the Steam Deck for the Fireball. I don't remember if you bought it or not.
Oh, man. It's over with.
It run well, run pretty decently.
I bet it do.
What I do? I mean, I've been playing Avowed. I've been playing still a little bit more of the Kingdom KC Deliverance 2, KCD 2. I've been playing that a lot as well. I ain't been doing much really. I've been trying to kind of get my games I want to play over the next couple of months. I've been, watching a little bit of stuff about Shadows, and stuff like that. I might want to add that as a topic because they show did get leaked as well. But I just been playing those games. I ain't really been doing much else. I watched a new show, and this show is by far the most anime show I've ever watched that with real people. It's called Alice in Borderlands, and my God, is it so over the top that it's borderline unwatchable to me sometimes. I'll be like, I don't understand how, like, how you can watch an anime character and they could be over the top because it's an anime trope. And then you watch a live show and you just like, this is more realistic. Your brain literally can't understand the logic behind some choices and things that happen. But it's not a bad show. It's just like, it's literally the most anime show I ever watched that's with real people. It's like, if you don't understand what that means, it just means like their characters are over the top. The decision making that they make is over the top. The lack of um, it's not like a plot, but a lack of cohesion. I guess like it's not concise. It's not to the point. It's kind of like always these weird things that happen to make it continue on, and it just feels like, anyways.
So
The plot is interesting enough to keep me going.
So just to check, you're watching the live action or the anime?
Oh, I'm watching the live action. I never watched the anime of Alice in Borderland.
Okay. No, that I was just trying to look it up, and I guess it is an anime, but the Netflix show was recent, so that's what she was watching. Okay.
Exactly. So good thing you looked that up, because I would sound like a fool. I was like, yeah, it's an anime because it's based off an anime. Well, then that makes a lot more sense. But to be honest, it's probably like, even in the realm of animes like Sword Art Online or One Piece, when they adapt it to real, they like try to make it make sense, or at least fit in the world, in the realm of things. But it just, like, the concept of it is so strange that it almost is like bad, because like it's like almost on a Death Note level. Like when you see it, you kind of like, it's not really hard. It's hard to kind of transition over to live action. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. And maybe it is still good. Maybe people still love it. Great. Me, I'm on the fence about it. And maybe if I watch the anime, I probably feel better, or maybe finish out this season of the live action, and then go watch the anime, and I probably feel better about the anime, probably because it fits. It makes sense. It's kind of like that one show about the gamble in high school. I forget the name of it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, what? Anyways, I'm done talking about that. But I've been watching that as well, and then watching Paradise on top of that. Still liking Paradise. Finished most of what's it called? Severance. No, is it Severance or Severed? I think it's Severance.
Severance?
Yeah, I think it's Severance. Yeah. I've watched most of that, and then I watched Silo. So I've been watching a lot of Apple TV stuff, even though they online isn't the greatest to me in regards to like their functions. How, I don't know. I always judge people off their UI designs, and by far Apple has the worst. No, it's Hulu and then Apple. But yeah, anyways, that doesn't matter. Opinions, and on top of opinions. But let's get into some of the games. Oh, Wife Family doing great. They're amazing. Pie Training is not going great, but we're still trying, and I'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, let's get into some of these games. First things first. Fable was delayed to 2026. I think I've seen 2 conspiracies online as of now. One, they don't want to be nowhere near GTA 6. And 2, they want to prepare the game for the PlayStation 5 and launch at the same time. I'm more of the feeling that it's just not in the cards for them to release it this year, because they probably got plenty to drop. And they don't really need a big one at this point, because they have Doom coming out in the middle of the summer. And honestly, it was already an overstacked year for them. I really didn't think they needed to put Fable, but if they did, it would have been amazing. So I just felt like maybe they just was like, yeah, we can move this to another day, another year, because we got Avowed at the top of the year, and then we gonna have, Doom, and then we gonna have Ninja Gaiden 4 at the end. Is it really necessary for us to put out Fable as well? That was my thought. But the conspiracies are more interesting. So what are y'all thoughts on why Fable was delayed to 2026?
I mean, realistically, all of those factors are going to play a role in like the decision overall, just because like if they delay it by 6 months, and then that's probably the speculated time that GTA comes out, then it's like, well, we got to delay it even further so we can avoid that time period. Overall, I think just in general, it's just because the game needs more time. An extra year on a game can do a lot of good for it. So I
Yep.
think that that's like the primary reason for it. Also, at the same time, that could bring the PS5 or the rumored PS5 version up to parity. But yeah, overall, I think if the core game itself just needs more time, that's just going to be the reason for the delay. Because so far in the past, I don't think they've had an issue with releasing games on PS5 later. Because I think, yeah, just the audience will still be excited for it to pick it up later. Not necessarily to say that the sales won't be different, but I don't think right now they have an issue with just releasing it later. But part of so sorry, one more thing. Part of the reason why I think is just the game isn't ready. We already haven't seen much of it in like the last 2 years since it's been announced.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads me to believe that yeah, just the core game itself needs more.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's fair. And I do think that those like those conspiracies are just that. I mean, it could be like you said, a combination of everything. I I still fall in the camp of mostly it was due to just simply timing and wanting to literally give it more time to cook, but also avoid kind of releasing everything at once. And maybe they're already planning on doing some delays on gears, so putting that Fable into next year probably will help with that because there is a trickling effect when you delay something. Your timeline shifts completely, so they might just be shifting everything at this point just because of like them shifting about to the top of the year and things like that. So it could be literally just trying to place placement and letting all these games breathe, which makes sense because you want them to. um so GTA 6 doesn't smother it. Any thoughts on that, Jalen? Fable being delayed. Um, what's your top conspiracy at this point? You think they scared? They scared of GTA?
Yeah, I mean, I think the GTA thing is quite viable. I mean, I don't think anybody should release anything anywhere near GTA. So, especially with this climate between like the government and then like the cost of everything, um, I just don't. I don't think it'd be the wisest idea.
Yes.
I don't even. I mean, you subscribe to the Xbox community a little bit more deeply than I am. I mean, I don't even know if people really still asking for a Fable like that. Not to say that it won't sell well. I just don't. I feel like the last Fable we got was it on the 360?
It was a long time ago.
It was technically it was after that, yeah. But the last main game was the 360, and then Xbox One had a couple like
Fable Legends
Connect
or
games.
something like that. Fable
Yeah,
something. It was one of those games that shouldn't have mattered or shouldn't even been thought of, and they did made it. But yeah, the Fable franchise has been dead a long time. Only reason I'm interested into it because the people that's making it, Playground Games. Like if it was anybody just like if they was rehashing their old studio or something, I wouldn't care because it's not like they ever delivered a game that I was interested in playing. Playground has delivered games that I'm interested in playing. So if they can like this is like that one of those guerrilla game type transitions. Like you going from shooters to an open world fighting game or something like that. It's like that tells me you got the chops to do a lot more than what you've been pigeonholed to do for this very long time. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm not really excited for Fable per se. I'm excited to see what they can do with the Fable franchise and how they can put their own spin on it because they don't really play around when it comes to like development and like putting the effort into certain things. So I'm looking forward to seeing that part of it more so than anything. But Fable itself has been dead in the water for a long, long time. Um, my thought is kind of like you were trying to saying earlier. Like, I don't think nobody cares about anything else outside of GTA. Like, a lot of other games will be overshadowed this year simply if they even try to launch within like the 3 month radius of that game. I think that there is plenty of games almost like the to the Kendrick and Drake effect. Like nobody care about anybody else doing. Like I could care less about anybody else dropping music today. I don't care about none of their stuff. Like honestly, nobody can drop, and I'd be like, I don't really care. And I think that's a lot of the sentiment of people that just follow hip hop in a different scale, like looking at it. Like I'm not saying that people wouldn't care. I mean, maybe I think only one person, maybe one or two people outside of like Kendrick and Drake at this point. I don't even care about nobody else because they have made it a problem for the field to do anything. It seems like everybody just doesn't want to say anything or do anything because it's just like they mess up the field. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with the gaming community when GTA 6 drops. It's going to be a problem for a lot of the games that are trying to come out. And I do think they're just trying to shift and get out the way. Like, I would do the same thing, honestly. I would not want to drop in the middle of any of that. Like, no wonder, J. Cole's just doing a blog. He's just putting up a song. Cause they ain't finna drop nothing for real right now. It doesn't. You don't want it. Cause ain't nobody gonna care. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater. I liked what he was saying on it. I only listened to it once. I'm done with it. I'm not gonna listen to it again because I just don't care. And it's not that he's not compelling. It's just the fact that he's dropping between something that is like just more relevant and more interesting. So I think that that's the same sentiment that they're using for this, and I think that that's why they
Big Sean to get you.
Big Sean won't get me at this point. Big Sean can drop a freestyle, and I still
He won't?
I'll listen to it, but it's not. I genuinely went back and looked at. I was listening to his discography, and I was like, why does this sound different? And I was like, why does it sound different to my ear? I was like, that should not impact anything anybody else is doing. But I'm not saying that GTA 6 can do that. Like where you go back to another game and you're like, this feel different. It's the lingering impact of someone that kind of stays true to their form and their artistry that you start to look back at other people's art and you like, why you ain't? But like I said, Big Sean has always had those types of messages and always had that type of stuff. So it's not the same as if this guy isn't compelling as a artist. It's just not on this level of complexity, or at least this level of detail that I'm now used to because I have seen it over the last year. If that makes sense. If it's not the lack of complexity. Like Joey Badass, I feel like there's plenty of artists that have that complexity and that ability to kind of make you just dive into their lyrics. I just feel like it's lacking now that I'm looking at it in hindsight. That's all. That's it.
All right. Okay.
It's not like I hate the guy or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that he's not my second favorite artist. I'm saying that there's a difference.
We already know he don't like Joey, but I agree with the sentiment overall that for a lot of things or a lot of media, when something like amazing comes out, it just kind of resets people's desires and expectations. Not that everything else that comes out is bad. It just doesn't hit the same or give you the same reaction or emotions that you got from, that new thing. So I think just overall, like if we talk about rap, the rap community is pretty full with the meal that Kendrick prepared, and everybody else that's coming out later is just kind of like fast food, and I'm not really hungry, so that's why a lot of people are not checking. Give it more time, and when we have more space between now and but yeah, once GTA 6 comes out and everybody else gets and the players get their fill of that game, I think other games will be a little more safe to come out after a couple months. Just as soon as GTA comes out, it's gonna change people's expectations, and at least for new games, you're gonna have a much space between that and so you judge fairly.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically that's it.
Okay. Yeah, agreed. I feel like there's a lot of time that needs to pass before everybody starts to feel again that they can play anything else other than GTA 6 and their online, whatever that looks like, because I know it's gonna be crazy. Okay, let's move on. Next up, I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about Mecha Break real quick. Because I don't got much to say on it, so I want to just hit on it real quick and move on. For me, the biggest thing that I noticed was that, hey, people are actually interested in the type of game. There's a lot of people playing it on Steam. I could have sworn they had an Xbox version or at least a test going on, but they didn't. It was all on Steam. But the overall, I guess, the overall experience has been great in the gameplay. There's been problems with using of a certain anti-cheat, and then there is some problems with the monetization. They feel like there are some concerns with those two components of the game. They're saying that the anti-cheat could be possible spyware. I ain't never heard nothing like that, but the PC people, they know their stuff, so I'm gonna just leave it to them. But for that reason alone, I probably end up playing it on the Xbox if I wanted to ever try it. But did y'all see any early impressions of this Mecha Break, the false Gundam? I know I'm demeaning it by saying that, but it's basically one of those games. What do y'all think about Mecha Break, or have y'all seen anything about Mecha Break?
Yeah. So I saw the previews and I played the demo because they had a beta a couple months ago. I tried to get in, but I didn't have time during that weekend or whatever, so I didn't get to play it. But now they have a demo, which is like the first, I don't know, whatever hour of the game or so, or just like the training type thing. And yeah, overall, it's an interesting idea. Like it's for robot games or mecha games, like you can either go Armor Core route or just like Gundam. And for y'all who haven't played it, it's kind of, I guess, like Forza versus Gran Turismo, where they're both car games, but they focus on different things fundamentally, so that makes them feel very different.
Okay.
Mecha Break is trying to hit somewhere in the middle, where it is slower paced and a little heavier, so kind of more like Armor Core. But at the same time, you still got all your anime moves and like weird like alien slash biomechanical robots and stuff like that, kind of something you would see out of other mecha stuff. So, but anyways, I would say for me, it feels more like a slow down Gundam. And yeah, gameplay is fine. It has like some cool parts to it. Some stuff is weird. Like I think the melee combat is kind of weird. But I can see why people are looking forward to it, because a lot of these games don't have a big budget, or they don't focus on multiplayer and do it well. Armor Core has like 1v1 fights. Those are fun, but it's not like a free to play, like always online game.
Yeah,
And the Gundam games are fun, but they're kind of, again, like anime arena fighters just with robots. So it's kind of like not a lot of depth to it. But what they've done with Mecha Break, like you have a shield they can bring out at any time. You got like a axe or a sword, depending on your character. You got your rockets and your guns. So it's kind of mixing a lot of different like melee with range weapons, which makes it feel like you have a lot to do. I haven't played a lot online against other people, but I know that they have different modes. Like some of the modes are like extraction shooter, or just like a PvP mode, which I haven't done yet. But I mean, overall, it seems like a okay free to play game. Yeah, for me, I don't know how the monetization is shaking out, but like with all those type of games, there's always an issue.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like different. People are notating as differently. I thought it was a beta because I went on their site and it said beta, but then it says demo. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. It might be just a demo then. But yeah, I think that overall it'd be something cool to play. We got something in the that's available and easy to jump into. Jalen, you gonna download this? Give it a shot.
Give it a whirl. I like some robots, man.
Put it on that hard drive, like that Diablo. All right, appreciate you.
Demonic presence over here.
There's none of that in this one, man. It's just pure octane and gasoline. I don't know what it is. Electricity. But
that's what I was gonna say about the speed. Like it's
Yeah.
actually really slow. Like you watch the trailers and like the characters are doing a lot, but the actual movement speed is slow, so you can keep up with everything. Whereas like Armor Core is not slow.
Mm.
Like if you see somebody dashing or boosting and spinning their camera around like 360 no scope, they're actually doing that like regular speed. So that's something to get used to. Like for me, I feel like Mecha Break is too slow, but for somebody new, that might be better. So you can actually see what's going
Keep up
on.
with the
But
combat. Yeah.
yeah,
You ain't out there looking like Piccolo. I got you. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Um. That's all I had on Mecha Break. I didn't really have much else I wanted to kind of cover off on it. Let's move on to our next topic here. And the next one I wanted to talk about was it was a weird one, Nvidia, man. I guess out some what's his name? Daniel Owens. He was reporting on somebody basically was reaching out to Nvidia and they doubled down on it. I didn't think they had doubled down on it, but basically they were saying that a 5070 Ti Founders Edition it exists. And it's just not the truth. Like no 5070 Ti Founder Editions exist because they were trying to figure out the pricing and why they couldn't figure out. Basically, Nvidia launched a thing and they had it where all third parties were the individuals that's making this card, and none of the founders editions exist. There was none made, and the price that they were quoting was supposedly for the founders edition and not the actual or at least that's what they're advertising on their website, and not the MSRP for the actual after third party ones. So basically they got caught up in a lie. They said that he saw that there was no founders edition, or at least the customer service representative for Nvidia said this. And then when they got it escalated, they doubled down again and just said, "We got founders editions, homeboy. You need to go ahead and get up out of here with all that noise." And I was just so confused by that because I'm like, y'all guys can clearly look it up and say, "Oh, these 5070 Ti's, we do not actually manufacture founders editions of these cards," but it's just not just that. It's just a bunch of stuff happening with Nvidia in regards to defective cards. And they were talking about like it's a certain percentage. I believe the percentage is low, but just for this stuff to be happening on launches, that there is scarcity for these products. Like nobody is really able to get them in. I'm almost assuming this is like two things. This is Nvidia taking advantage of supply chain issues, but it's also just supply chain issues on itself. But it just feels like they don't really care about this type of market, and they don't really care to sell well in this market. They just want these products out there to be showcases for them, and that's what it feels like. It's like a paper launch, and so to speak. So they just been getting a lot of blowback, and it's just been very weird because you can praise them for the technology advances and all the software stuff they're doing, but then when you see the practices and what actually is being implemented out there in the real world, it does kind of put like this bad duality of like support versus non-support. Like I support your initiative to push the envelope, but I don't support the practices of how you run your business because it's not like those two things should kind of go hand in hand. If you're being super super innovative, there should be a want to kind of get your products on the market and really be showcase them. But it's like they have the opposite effect because they have like the other big things that they actually make a lot of money off of. That's more important. So it's a very weird space to be in when it comes to graphics cards nowadays, and just being able to even get your hands on one is kind of tough. So it's definitely hard right now being a PC gamer. And I don't complain about my card because literally I like the type of performance I get. And the things that they're toting and things like that, like ray tracing, they have just now started to creep into my mind to the point where I want to see it. But if I definitely don't want to see it if I can't keep a 60 FPS lock. So it's just one of those things as you continue to, go up the expense ladder, because the 5070 Ti is the main ones people were going to buy more than likely because, price towards performance. that card is supposed to be $729. It is showcasing out at like $1,000, pushing up into like the 7900 XTX range, going back to the old, 4080 Super and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel right, So it is one of those things where Nvidia is just having a hard go at it, and I think this is all kind of self-inflicted wounds. But we'll see. I am kind of happy that I bought the PS5 Pro, but at the same time, it's not like that's doing any favors either. It's not like it's one of those things where it's just the best thing on the market for like visuals, but it's not really that big of a difference yet to me. We will talk about a win here shortly from them. But anything else to add to Nvidia lying and being caught in the market of the state of PC gaming right now?
No, not really. Like, well, I guess when it comes to PC stuff, right now Nvidia have that classic issue of quantity versus quality. They have so many different cards and products that they're trying to release and push at the same time, and they're not necessarily all worth the quality. And I think PC people in general are very thorough with their buying practices, and so I
Yeah.
think it's weird for Nvidia to be trying to pull the wool over them when they known for the last like 20-30 years how PC people are. So
Yeah, they're not really the one to take stuff. And they have no problem. Well, I wouldn't say all, but it's very common for PC gamers to not buy their games sometimes. So it's like you have to come up with solutions that benefit everyone. And I'm not saying that everybody thinks like that, but it's definitely not it's definitely not most higher end cars. That is a fact. You have to think about that mid range to low range graphics card, because that is where the bread and butter is truly anyway. So I don't know. It's very weird to me, but we're gonna move on because we don't need to stay on it too long. Let's talk about Monster Hunter Wilds. Another one. We get another PS5 Pro performing I guess analysis that it's performative. It works. It's giving you what they said it was gonna give you: 60 FPS at a higher resolution with more clarity. But I'm starting to get the feeling that people are starting to realize, or at least are starting to notate, that the PS5 version of these games look crappier, and maybe they're lowering the baseline for these so they can make it seem like it's a bigger jump than what it truly is, which is interesting to see anyway. But we could talk about more crappy tactics later, but I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the reviews, if you watched any, Josh, Jalen as well, because I know you got people probably asking you to play this game, and maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. It come out in 2 days, but what are y'all thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds?
you can take it, Jalen. I gotta check on something.
So I didn't like play the demo or anything. I think ever since we had, like, you might have mentioned this on a podcast, but ever since we had talked a little bit about how the game was running, I don't remember if it was like stuttering or if it was like frame rate issues. I think he even throw in something about, maybe it's just probably better for the PS Pro version or the PS5 Pro version versus the regular version. I was just kind of like, I'm not super inclined to get it. Obviously, I'm using it as my like news source rather than look into it. I consider getting it, but I'm not heavily inclined to at first. I was like, hey, this is a game we can probably all play together. Go ahead and cop. But if the game not gonna be running the best, I'm not super inclined to grab it. I know how Josh had reservations on it. But you got a PS5 Pro, so you'll probably, if you did decide to get it, you'll probably have like a better experience than us. But again, it ain't out yet. I mean, they could easily do like stability patches and things like that, but that's my sentiments thus far. So I kind of fell off of it a little bit based on what you had told me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think that at least what this has shown is that it's not a stutter fest. At least it's not. It's definitely not a lock 60, but it's not terrible where it wouldn't. You wouldn't have a decent time as long as you got a VRR screen. Um, but it is more so the 60 FPS mode is blurry. Um, I wouldn't. I think it's a little bit better than Final Fantasy. So if you are okay with Final Fantasy, you will be okay with how this looks. But to me, that would be a deal breaker. But the PS5 Pro version does clear that up with the use of better anti-aliasing. I think they are using PSSR, and it also just has a bump in the resolution, so it does have a cleaner image. Maybe a little softer, but still a cleaner image. Um, but yeah, people are praising it. And the one thing I wanted to, and I know he's kind of busy, but it was with Josh is that he was kind of mentioning that early game was too long for him, and that he didn't like that part of it. Um, he didn't like how long it took. So they definitely shortened it. A lot of people were complaining. At least a lot of the reviewers were stating that, hey, it's shorter and it's not hard, so you will be able to get to the end game quicker. And I don't know if that's a benefit for Josh or if it's not, but to me, it does provide more of a incentive to try it out a little bit, because I'm not saying I'm gonna love the end game. I never. Every time I play them, I always feel the same way. It's like the core loop does not entice me enough to go back to play it. But maybe the story will, or at least the quicker story will allow me to see more of the game. That will allow me to feel more excited about that loop. Because again, it's really just a loop that's just very much so not interested in me. And maybe fighting all the different monsters, getting able to see a lot of the different monsters, and getting exposed to the monsters more quickly may allow me to feel like, oh, I want to fight this monster with higher, difficulty, or with a team or whatever. It might be interesting because you don't really see all their move sets when you first fight them anyway. They usually have some upgraded stuff or whatever. So that's what intrigued me about the game. And what made me interested and happy was to see the better optimization on the consoles, because it does go across Xbox Series X, PS5, and PS5 Pro. So they do have optimized. The game is optimized at least enough on those consoles to get you a good experience. Either that's going to be locked at 30 or at the 60 FPS. Now, again, it can be blurry, but it does at least give you those options. That would be the key thing for me, and that's what they were showing, and I'm glad that's what occurred. PC version, people were still kind of just shrugging it off as if it didn't matter about the bugs and like weird stuff happening, but I don't know, man. Monster Hunter Wilds doesn't look that great to be that heavily CPU bound and kind of just poorly optimized on the PC. It really shouldn't be the case. So I guess my overall sentiment for this is that, yeah, I'm glad you guys are getting positive reviews. Yeah, I'm glad the performance is doing decent, but the game doesn't look like it requires all that much of the systems, and there is a lot of a lot of concern around um just the amount of sheer bugs that's happening in this game now. It's not overly dramatic, but it's kind of like it does feel like it's just not up to snuff of what Capcom usually drops. But maybe I'm just wrong, or maybe I'm not used to it. Um how convoluted is the Monster Hunter menus for you, Jalen?
I didn't feel like they was too convoluted. However, my patience probably done got shorter since. When did we play World? It was like 2017, maybe 2018, somewhere around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't feel like they was too convoluted, but again, I don't know how my patience gonna be. So
yeah, no, I think the same. It got worse. That's what they say. It got worse. Didn't get better.
I feel like the Switch version probably
was easy, right? I felt like it was simple.
I don't remember actually, so I'm just go by World. It wasn't too bad, but if they got worse, then I mean, I might fall asleep, bro.
But yeah, there's like the multiplayer and all that stuff. I think there's like a bunch of stuff that they were saying were just like they were making poor design decisions, and it's normal for Monster Hunter's team to do that. So I wasn't expecting them to be doing anything much different. But okay, well we can wrap up that conversation and kind of move into. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just got back. Y'all said y'all piece on Monster Hunter? Or
Yeah.
talking about something else?
Yeah, we were saying our piece on Monster Hunter. We was talking about the whole basically they made it easier for you to get through the actual story. Made like shorten it from like 40 something hours to like 12 hours. So and they made it easier on the fights. So I was trying to get your opinion on that because I know you said one of your biggest concerns was it being super long and taking too long to get to the end game.
Yeah, because the early game is always like tedious because you don't have like full access to all the like different monsters that you want to, and they're gonna do a bunch of tutorials and cutscenes and stuff like that. So World, it was very long to get through the main story, and especially when you want to play the main story with your friends, but they like put you through a whole bunch of hoops. So yeah, it's good that they've, I guess, shortened that part of it. You can still have story and stuff that comes later, but the mandatory like uh it's not a tutorial, I guess it's just onboarding process of Monster Hunter needs to be shorter. And from what I've seen of Wilds, people are enjoying it. The combat changes are nice, and a lot of people saying it's easy, but it's always like that with Monster games because people master them and a new one comes out, and so the skill level is going to be lowered so that it can build back up again as they add more content. The only few things that I saw that I didn't like were they still have the SOS type system, or at least how to put it. Like if you want to do co-op, before like we couldn't start the mission because somebody didn't watch the cutscene yet. So we couldn't do co-op until somebody saw the cutscene, and then you can do the SOS, and so y'all can join my game. That system is still in the game. They've slightly tweaked it to make it a little more flexible or convenient or whatever, but it's still like annoying that you can't just play through the game like in a whole active party with no like issues. Basically how it works, we can all queue up or whatever in a party and start the mission, but it'll say that Deontay and Jalen haven't seen this cutscene yet, so it's going to put us in different instances. So we're going to be doing our own stuff, like kind of in a single player mode. But once you finish that cutscene or whatever, it'll put us all back together in the multiplayer mode.
Yep.
So that's really annoying because like some of those like tutorial things are like, we want you to walk around, we want you to pick up flowers, then you're gonna see the monster and it's gonna chase you, and then now we're gonna put you in multiplayer now that the monsters chase you a little bit. It's like we can just skip all that.
Yep.
Yeah, so and it's weird because it's like that stuff didn't exist in Rise. Like Rise, you can just be in a party the whole time with no issue, but then you jump over to like the World or the Wild series, and they do weird stuff like that. So that's annoying. And the only other thing is the live service element of it. All Monster Hunter games have had DLC. Rise had a whole bunch of DLC as well. Usually how they do it, the DLC will come out like, hey, if you want to get some Street Fighter skins, you can just download the DLC, fight the monster, and you'll unlock it. What they're gonna do in Wilds is the timed events, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Apex or something like that. You got 2 weeks to beat this boss so you can get the Street Fighter skins. And that's annoying because I don't really have time like that to do that sort of event content, even if it's something I really care about.
Right.
Um, and then it's gonna go away. Yeah, sure, it might come back in a couple weeks or a couple months, but it's like, why not just have it always available like you do in your own games? Like Monster Hunter Rise, they don't have events that expire, so why are you doing it in this game? So it just stuff like that is making me feel like I want to wait a little bit until I personally have time. But overall, I think the game is looking very good. Um, as far as like a Monster Hunter entry, it's just yeah, I want to wait a little bit till I personally play it how I want to play it. So that way I don't get annoyed.
Well, you setting proper expectations. I mean, that's the first step right there, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that they at least have hit the check marks of what they needed to at least get the console people happy. I don't know about PC. I feel like the CPU limitation there thing is gonna probably make a lot of people angry because they have lower end CPUs. And it's probably not gonna be a good experience for them. Um, so that's a problem. But let's move on to our next topic here. There was a lot of like idea Xbox stuff. A lot of new games coming out. A lot of new games being shown off due to the indie expos. I know that the Steam Fest is it Steam Next or Steam Fest? I don't remember. It's the Steam event as well is out. So there's a lot of new games getting some more information on, new trailers, new gameplays, and things like that. But there was a few that I wanted to kind of talk about as well, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with 33 Immortals, but that was one of the ones that had a really cool concept. That's something that Xbox was showing off. I'm trying to remember the name of the company, but essentially it is a co-op action roguelike with 33 players. Um, I think that's pretty. I don't know. I just feel like it's super unique, to the point where it's eye catching and like makes me want to play it. I don't know, how interesting it'll be in like and after it's like not a concept and it's actually physically formed, like it's fully formed and people are playing it, how fun that'd be. But it just seems fun to be able to have that type of coordination with 33 other people trying to go through bosses and challenges, things like that. So I think that's a really cool game. Jump Ship is, everybody keeps saying the same thing. It's a mix between sea sorry, the pirate game Sea of Thieves by Xbox and like Left 4 Dead, sort of. They were saying like Sea of Thieves, it was like a mix of two things. Like two games, but I guess the thing for me on Jump Ship was it reminded me of that one game that I almost forgot about. The one by Remedy. What is it called? Man, why can't I remember nothing today? It's that stupid Remedy game. Breakout
Break?
or no, it's like FOV or something. It's
Oh,
like,
their FPS game that's not out yet?
yeah, I don't remember the name though. I'm mad now I don't remember the name. But they have another
Well,
game.
yeah, just the Control FPS game that they announced.
Yes, FBC Firebreak. That game looked amazing and very interesting, but it's kind of got those types of similarities. Everybody's doing their own type of. It's like almost extraction a little bit because you're going to places, you're leveling up, and you're trying to take on certain things, but you're like your ship is your home base, so you're trying to protect, defend it, and then you're trying to go through and explore things as well. So it has like a bunch of different formulaic things in it, but the key thing that I noticed was the whole cooperation on the ship and just kind of being able to fix the ship up, make sure the ship is straight, make sure the maintenance on the ship is, if you're taking damage from other stuff or things like that, you want to make sure that stuff is fixed. So it's like Sea of Thieves, like I said, like with the pirate ship. And you're going out and exploring though. So I just thought that was really dope concepts. I really like when these indie games can fully flesh out a concept. But the other thing was the gameplay looked really good. Like the gun fights looked really good as well. Because you're going around fighting robots. It's PvE, not PvP. So you're just like going around and you're challenging yourself to get through certain obstacles and things like that. So I think those are the funny games, the ones that actually have something unique about them. So I do like Jump Ship, and there was a few others like Descenders next with this. They got snowboards now. I don't know if you ever seen Descenders, but that's the one where you're going down a hill really fast on bikes, and it's an indie game. And it was an Xbox preview for a very long time before it finally had a full release. But now they got Descenders next. They got more stuff coming. And then they also showed off like Moonlighters 2, a bunch of stuff, man. Just go check it out, really, because that's where we got the Mecha Break stuff too. When they were talking about it, at least the demo came around the same time of when this stuff started kicking off. So check out a bunch of that indie stuff, man. I think that they are overshadowed a lot, and I really do want to highlight a lot of the stuff that's really, really cool coming out of them, out of those expos or whatever. Some of the ones that I thought was pretty cool, but there's plenty more out there that you guys can check. Have y'all seen any coverage on this or saw any games that y'all were interested in speaking to from this ID at Xbox or the Steam Fest?
No, not right now. Just because there's so many, I'm still actually going through to see what games are out because I've seen some of them announced on like Twitter, stuff like that, and people are sharing, their highlights. But it's just so many at the same time that I haven't been able to keep up. But
No.
it goes until March 3rd, at least the Steam Next Fest.
Mm-hmm.
The ID and Xbox thing has already finished, but their trailers came out the other day, and IGN is also doing like the IGN Fest this week. So yeah, there's a lot of games that are gonna be announced. I think I'll probably have a stronger list next week, but so far, yeah, just a whole bunch of creative games. If you go check out those store pages like on Steam.
Yeah. They also put that Lies of P in here, which makes me feel like the reason why they were able to get this extra DLC out is probably because of that Game Pass deal. Because I don't know if it did really, really well, but it definitely was a good game. And I definitely want to go back and play it just to kind of be able to play the DLC now, because I think that the story of itself in like the world, I thought was really cool. I just never finished it, so I might get another shot to see if I can beat it before the DLC come out. Cause maybe that's something I want to like make some guides on or something. So all that stuff, like I said, just a bunch of stuff out there that's was really dropping lately. So check it out. I think it's all good things here. All good things for sure. All right. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about on that side. Let's move on to my next thing. Game of Thrones, King's Road. I just put literally, why is this a mobile game? It looks good, and I would play it, but I just don't play games on mobile. So I'm just like, why is this game? Well, I guess before I continue, has anybody seen this game?
Yeah, I saw. I mean, when it was announced, they said it was a mobile game.
Okay, so you saw it basically the last time you saw it was at what was that? I think it's State of Play when they announced
Game
it.
Awards.
Yeah, the Game Awards. Yeah, so that's the last time you saw it. Okay. Let me see. The last time I saw it was around this time again with all of the IDX Xbox stuff. They showed new gameplay of it. And again, you can tell that it's a mobile game now, but you couldn't tell in the cutscenes. They really did some really good animation and things like that for this game. and I didn't expect them to do that. Wait, hold on. Is this coming to Steam? It is coming to Steam.
But it's still a mobile game. Like it was built as a mobile game, but they have a PC version available. So yeah, it's not gonna be open world or anything like that. I was gonna say that as a mobile game, they're usually annoying to play, as far as like controls or stuff like that.
Right.
But as far as like size or content, like mobile games are are basically better than a lot of Switch games as far as performance and stuff. So it really just depends on the developer's vision. Like if you want a um, bad frame rate, bunch of microtransaction mobile game, you can do that. But if you
Mm.
just want a console game that's on mobile, I think we've way past that when Genshin
Castle
Impact
Black
came
is
out,
the only
like
thing
2018.
standing between the White Walkers and the Seven Kingdoms.
Why is that thing playing? Okay. My bad. I was trying to. They got a demo. I was like, let me download this demo. And then all of a sudden, I got background noise. But, anyways, continue. My bad.
Oh no, that's all. Yeah, but yeah. Looking at it, it looks okay. I personally not interested. Like it's Game of Thrones, but I don't see anything interesting about it beyond that. But yeah, when it was announced as a mobile only game, at least I thought it was too. Yeah, I was surprised because like is Game of Thrones is a big IP, wanted to get it out to everybody, but they
Exactly.
got a Steam version.
Yeah, the Steam version made me feel better. I can sleep better at night here now. But it just seemed weird that they would even, mobile first it. Like that doesn't make sense. So, but anyways, if they got a Steam version, I can listen to I can play the story. That's pretty much all I cared about. And I'm gonna try this demo, and I'll report back once I finished it. But why is it a mobile game? That's still yet to be known. Developers are Netmarble Neo. I never heard of these guys, but this is a pretty big IP.
Yeah, big mobile game developer.
Isn't this Warner Brothers stuff too?
Uh, I don't want to misquote anybody. I think Netmarble is a Chinese or Korean like conglomerate that does a whole bunch of stuff, and they just got the IP for this game.
Isn't the I guess my question is the IP under Warner Brothers? It is, right? Because Arya Stark was in
I don't
Multiverses. This
I don't
is
know.
more of these, you know. I'm almost certain they are under the Warner Brothers tent, because they're HBO. So, um, yeah, it's just another misuse of. I don't know what they doing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what they're actually doing over there. But we're gonna talk about that right now. Let's go right into that. Actually, um, the reason why I'm kind of confused about Warner Brothers and their actions and everything around them is because they recently just announced that they're shutting down a few studios. They're shutting down Monolith, First Player Games, and was it no, it was something studios. It was another one of the companies that just supported a bunch of games. I don't think they actually even made anything. At least I couldn't find anything that they made, but it was another studio. So three, Monolith, which was the bigger one because they are the ones that made Shadow of War. They made Shadow of Mordor. They've made the Fear series, like Fear 1, Fear 2, Fear 3, and one of my favorite scary games, Condemned and Condemned 2 Bloodshot. I don't know if you guys played that game, or maybe we talked about it and y'all said it was trash, but those games were actually good to me. But yeah, for them to kind of just, I really wanted to play Wonder Woman because, again, another announcement, they canceled the Wonder Woman game. But I thought that would have been dope and, like, maybe a little bit more, more tie in of the Nemesis system, and maybe Wonder Woman. Because, again, I'm over that formula of how that fight, like, how those fights go with, from Batman to Spider-Man to to Shadow of War, I'm like over the formula of like how those fights go. But I do like the Nemesis system. I thought it was cool when they first introduced it. Um, and maybe that's something that they could have played off of for the new game. But it just felt like they don't ever gonna get the shot now, and Wonder Woman is just dead in the water, and they announced it. I'm trying to remember when they announced Wonder Woman, but all they did was throw a CG trailer up there, so it can't be like super bad. But like for the company to go from making one of the biggest games in like recent years in 2023 to dropping that flop of Suicide Squad to closing down multiverses to putting Game of Thrones IP as a mobile game first to like I'm throwing all this in there and then to just shut down Monolith and all that stuff. Now again, I don't know the whole inner workings of this Game of Thrones thing, but I know that HBO owned this, and I know HBO is owned by Warner Brothers. So whatever they did over there, this Game of Thrones thing got out for some reason, and it's targeting mobile. I have no clue why. Anyways, but yeah, what's happening over there? What is causing all of the turmoil? Is it just poor decisions? Is it really bad decisions making skills? Is it just bad finances? Is it really that bad when one game can break your entire gaming development? Like, is it that really that bad? Like, they had one game that was bad, maybe two with multiverses, but like that's it. And then they kind of had to shut down a lot. Isn't that kind of insane? Isn't that tells me poor management?
Yeah, Warner Brothers is a crap company overall. That's the issue. Every aspect of their business is always hemorrhaging money. So I mean, yeah, Multiverse got shut down as well as the developer. They announced that this week. I guess we were expecting that because they already announced that Multiverses is done. We already talked about what happened with that game. Suicide Squad also was a big failure, but Rocksteady, I think they overall were spared.
Yeah.
Or at least, as far as we see, were spared any adverse like huge layoffs or stuff like that. Mortal Kombat 1 also not, I guess, been doing that good as far as like post.
Yeah, the post-launch stuff has definitely been pretty bad.
Yeah, they think that, I don't know if it was officially announced, but there are rumors that the DLC seasons are going to end because they weren't selling as hot as they were expecting. Gotham Knights was also a mid-launch when that came out like 3 years ago. Back for Blood was the same thing. So I'm just looking through their releases over the last few years, and they've had very few successes, like Hogwarts Legacy, which I think was a surprise. Then everything else was kind of mid. So I think it's expected that they're gonna do cuts and layoffs on the game side. I guess I'm surprised that it was Wonder Woman and it was Monolith Soft. Both were, I guess I would say, two ideas that were worth betting on, because like Monolith Soft has made a lot of games. They're very experienced. They have a lot of veterans, and also they made the Shadow of War games. So I'm surprised that they're gonna close them. And the same thing with Wonder Woman is like, this is Warner Brothers and DC, kind of like your top 5 characters, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman is the one where you could actually make a fun game out of it and not have the same issues with Superman, because she's, I guess, not as invincible as Superman. So just overall crazy decisions, but it's just mismanagement from the very top that's just going down every aspect of Warner Brothers. So that's not surprising. What I will say is that the Nemesis system is still, I was reading an article today that they're still going to have the copyright for it, so nobody else can use the Nemesis system. Personally, I feel like they kind of tired that system out in Shadow of War. I don't want to see any more of it.
Oh,
And
really?
the clones that have come of it have been close enough. Like there have been a whole bunch of games that have Nemesis-like systems, but they're not the exact same. And yeah, I'm tired of those two. All the Assassin's Creed games since all the last 3 or 4 Assassin's Creed games had a Nemesis-like system. Obviously not as good or as in depth, but yeah, I don't need it anymore. I'm just surprised they canceled Wonder Woman. That should have been a surefire hit. It's just a action game with a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like probably the budget for it is probably expensive, but they just like doing bad things and like doing like making bad decisions. So I wasn't surprised the game got canceled. I was surprised the studio got shuttered or at least got closed. That was the most interesting part because it feels like we've been waiting on the game from them for a while, and now that they don't have anything to present, it's kind of like starting over. So, and they can't. It's not starting over. They're just getting folded into other stuff that I don't know if I'm super interested in seeing from them right now. I know they're talking about the next Harry Potter game, and I know that they were talking about the next Rocksteady game and stuff like that, and trying to go back to quality over quantity, and like making sure they're back to their old selves and making great games. I just feel like it was, I don't know. But you're right. You reminded me a lot of their flops because I didn't remember Gotham Knights. I didn't remember that. And there's plenty of times where they made the wrong decision. And I'm really surprised by them because who made Gotham Knights again? Was it Monolith? I'm trying to remember.
No, it was I forgot the studio's name, but they worked on Batman games before. I think they just did the Origins, maybe. I'm guessing here.
Oh yeah, it was WB Games Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another one of those. I think it was WB Games. I forget which one it was that got shut down. Let me make sure. Let me double check because it don't take that long to Google while I'm over here guessing. WB Studios close.
So I see Monolith Player First and WB San Diego.
San Diego. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's like bittersweet type of situations. Well, not bittersweet. It's unfortunate that they have mismanaged it so much that I sometimes feel good when they fail, but I don't like people losing jobs, and I don't like seeing like this type of stuff. Like people have been working on something for such a long time. Like, because at the end of the day, I don't have that much hate in my heart to be like really wanting these companies to fail. They make bad decisions, but it's not like I want anybody to fail because at that point of the day, like most of these people depend on these jobs to survive, whether they're making a crap game or not. It is what it is. Like you are there for a task, you're there for the job, and the lack of passion will show in the results, and that is what it is. So, I do like I said, I do see as this stuff continues to happen and people make these big large bets on these failures. I hope we get back to putting the passion first, putting the people that are actually making the art first, because there's the formulaic action movie that does well, but then there is those art forms. There's movies that art that you can't put a price on that and how that looks and what that is, because you just can't. And no matter how much you try to polish it up and make that experience look super super dope, it's always going to be reflected in the sales, because sometimes you can tell when most of the times you can tell when developers are not passionate about the project. I think Harry Potter won basically because the story wasn't great. They won based off the passion of those people that was making that game and how much of the details they poured into it, because the story wasn't good and combat was okay, But I think the passion behind it, I think the people that really love Harry Potter, I think the people that really like that world, when they fully flesh out a world like that where you can explore, there's nothing that to compare to it. So that's why it did well. And I think they need to realize that. Because we can all say that, we can all admit that traversal in the first two Gotham games, or two Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, weren't great, but they had a passion for Batman, and you could tell every step of the way. So I don't know, man. I think people just forget what really makes these games work well, and what the value is, where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
But as far as the future of WB, from what I've heard, what they've been saying, they're going to focus on bigger IPs, well, big IPs like Batman and Game of Thrones, and release less games overall. But they also said they're interested in licensing their IPs out to other people more. So I think that's partly why you see something like the Game of Thrones game on mobile. What was it called? I forget the name.
Yeah, King's Road.
King's Road. Okay. Yeah, like that deal might have just been like a throwaway deal that they did a couple years ago, and it's actually turning out that the developer made a good game. Like that sometimes happens. But yeah, I think we will see more IPs from Warner Brothers just going other places, which honestly might be better if they personally can't fund all these different projects and they take a lot of time and they need guaranteed like profits to hit a certain margin. Then maybe making games is not for WB. Like maybe they should just license their stuff out. That might just be the future for them, which might just be better. Who knows? Because like the multiverses, like I was just looking it up, like they made multiverses like the beta, then Warner Brothers bought them, then Warner Brothers closed the game and shut them down. So it's like if y'all would just stayed a partnership, it probably would have just went better for everybody involved.
Yep. I didn't realize they even did that. Yep. That's insane. Man. Talk about being brought in to be let down. That's crazy. Yeah, I just don't like it. All of it's nasty. It's nasty stuff, man. I think the last thing I wanted to talk about was Andor season 2, but I really don't have much to say on it. I mean, it looks great. I liked the Andor season 1. I'm trying to figure out even when it actually comes out, but
April 22nd.
Oh yeah. And but yeah, I don't really got much to say on it. I love the first one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love the second one. I still ain't watched Rogue One, and I know he in that.
Watched it?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
So I know people were saying like, I can't believe you. I believe he's like a large component, or like a big component of it, but I just never watched it. So I think I'd rather watch it. Like, I'd rather keep watching like that. To be honest, I don't know if I want to watch it yet, because I know it's in the future when he joins and everything. So I think I prefer to just watch the show and never watch Rogue One. But maybe I shouldn't.
I mean, no, it's just interesting because I think when they announced Andor, it's like we're gonna explain Rogue One, like why Rogue One happened, and so I think you should watch it. Maybe you don't gotta watch it right now. You can watch it whenever you want, but it's leading to Rogue One. Like Rogue One is the chapter 3 of this 3-part story that they're trying to tell.
Nah, I know, but I don't want to see the end before I see the beginning. I guess that's.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like you watch it how you want to watch it. I was just saying, like once season 2 is done, then you can watch Rogue One.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. But okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you got anything else on
Andor, season 2 looks good. I like Andor season 1. Season 2 probably still gonna be the best. One of the best shows Star Wars has ever done. And just I guess Disney Plus in general, Daredevil's coming out like next week. People have been saying that it's looking very good from early impressions. So yeah, those are my 2 shows for March and April that I'll be watching.
Okay. Okay. Good to hear. Yeah, I don't really got. I mean, I don't think I'm watching. I'll probably be watching Andor. I don't really have anything outside of Alice in Borderlands. I'm still watching that. I do watch. Oh, actually, no. I got Severance, Paradise, Silo, and Alice in Borderlands. That's 4 shows. I'm surprised I'm watching all them shows right now. But yeah, interesting time for TV for sure. I heard this last Paradise episode was amazing. I need to watch it. So I'm looking forward to a lot of different shows for sure. Anything you watching, Jalen? What you got on your ticket right now? I'm hoping some good. Talk to me. Don't say Dragon Ball.
I ain't watching nothing, man. But you know that Dragon Ball. Watch that song though.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing you watching? Dang. Interesting.
I don't even know the last time I cut a
Oh,
TV on.
so you say you not watching Daima?
Not right now.
What's Dino?
Dragon Ball Daima.
Daima.
Oh, okay. Isn't that when they're little?
No, they're like they're shrunk, whatever. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, that's pretty much it then. I ain't really got much else to say. I mean, we talked through our topics. We got them all in there. Anything else for the good of the people before we get up out of here? No? Good. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you joining. Thank you guys for listening. As always, if you got to this part, you're the real OG. I want to thank you for tuning in, listening to us. Check us out wherever you want to check us out. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, we're on wherever you want to listen to us rant and rave about these topics. Thank you as always, and we will talk to you all next week with more topics and things to discuss. Peace.